All right, welcome to another episode of Criminals Hate Me. And it is the true crime podcast that criminals don't want you to watch. And guys, if you like what I'm doing on this channel, please like and subscribe. And I want to thank everyone who has stuck with me through thick and thin. I've had some come, I've had some go, but for the most part, 90% of my followers have stuck with me through thick and thin, and I really appreciate it. I know there's a lot of hot and cold going on in this case, and a lot of people flip-flopping back and forth, and you know, Donna Bond's the number one example. But guys, I've stayed true to my theory that something happened to Noah. I don't know what happened, but after it happened, they dumped his body on the highway. That is what I have stuck with from day one, okay? And I don't think we'll ever really know what exactly happened to Noah unless somebody confesses. But I think that there's enough here to charge someone with disposing of the body and staging it on the side of the highway. But what I'm going to line out for you tonight kind of makes that hard for law enforcement to do, and I'm going to explain all that. Okay, so the point of this episode is to answer this question. Why did they put Noah's body where they put it? Right up here. See where it says Noah was found here on the side of the highway? You know, I laid out my theory of why I thought it was exactly in that place, and if you want to watch that video, it's about the ATV theory that they possibly left from the party house and dumped him over here through this field. I could be right, I could be wrong. You know, I think there's an opening in the fence back here where they could have went through, and that's exactly why it was exactly right there. But tonight's episode is going to dive into why was he dumped on the side of a highway. Okay, because it could have been anywhere on the highway. It didn't have to be that exact spot, but they chose the side of a highway for a reason. Okay, and I've already lined out here that they couldn't go south because here's Terral. Someone in Terral would have seen them. There's another neighbor that lives here south of the party house, and then Bub owns all of this land here that was that he did the mining contract. So there's a lot of reasons and millions of dollars of reasons not to go south, and tons of witnesses that could see you go south. So you go north, it's wide open. Okay, but we're gonna dive into all of the reasons that I have now found that line up perfectly for why they chose the side of a highway. So there's been so many opinions and people claiming that because it was Labor Day, that's the day that Noah was found, Labor Day 2023, that the highway would have been empty. Okay, that there wouldn't have been a lot of traffic up and down that highway. Okay, and this picture on the left side of the screen, that signifies what everyone has been claiming. It's a country, desolate highway, and this is why they chose the highway, because there was nothing there, you know, no cars or nothing. And then you think about, you know, is that true? Was it actually a desolate highway, or was it more like this picture on the right, where there actually was a lot of traffic up and down that highway that morning, that day, that night, whenever? And, you know, and of course I had to put the picture of the deer because both 911 callers say that they thought they saw a deer on the side of the road or crossing the road or whatever. But that's the question that we're looking into. Who is right? Who is wrong? Was it actually an empty highway, or was it busy? Okay, what is typical? Which leads you to think about this. Okay, here's Terral down here on the bottom. And this arrow back and forth signifies, is there any reason for there to be a lot of traffic going back and forth on that highway past the spot where Noah's body was found? And here's some things to think about. Just the fact alone that they're having a party for 4 days, and it's Labor Day, okay, 4-day party, and I believe the party's ending on Labor Day. Yes, people are going to have to leave the party house, and there's rumors of anywhere from 40 kids down to 12 or 15 or whatever. Who knows how many was really there? But those kids would have to get in their vehicles and head to their homes. And I believe everyone that was mentioned by Caden that he said stayed the night, that Sunday night, they were all from Oklahoma. So they would have all went north. Okay, Duncan's up here. Jack said he was going up to the lake. I don't know if it was Warrika Lake, but there's some lake somewhere up here. I believe it's this one. It could be another one. But they didn't go south. Okay, Duncan's up here, the lake's here. But, you know, if let's say somebody did go south, okay, you could go down to Dallas is down here, Nakona's down here. There's a lot of little random cities here. Then you can go over here to Wichita Falls if you want to go gambling. There's a casino down here, South of Terral. There's a lot of possibilities for why people would be coming and going. But let's get back to the question. Would all that be happening on Labor Day of 2023? What are Labor Days really like? And I dove into that question, and I found something very, very interesting, because I was believing what everyone else was believing, that the highway would be empty and that people would be home. But here's what I found. I asked AI this question: is there more or less traffic on the highways during Labor Day due to a lot of people not being at work and possibly traveling to the lake or other places to relax and have fun? Here's what it said. You are correct. There is typically more traffic on the highways during Labor Day weekend. And here's why. Increased travel. Labor Day marks the unofficial end of summer, and many people take advantage of the long weekend to travel for vacations, visit family and friends, or go on day trips to places like lakes or beaches. Travel volume is consistently higher during this holiday. Commuters and travelers on the days leading up to the long weekend, especially Thursday and Friday afternoons and evenings, regular commuter traffic mixes with holiday travelers, leading to significant congestion. And here's the important part, guys. The return travel. The Sunday and Monday of Labor Day weekend also sees heavy traffic as people return home from their trips. While a lot of people aren't at work, the significant increase in recreational and leisure travel more than offsets any reduction in typical commuter traffic, resulting in congested highways. So the whole idea that that highway was dead and no traffic has been debunked. And it says right here that Sunday and Monday people are returning home. So on that Monday, there would have been a lot of traffic. So whoever tried to put out the lie that everything would be slow because people would be at work or be off work, and they would be at home resting and relaxing and not going anywhere, you are a liar. And then, when I found out that information, that highways are actually busier on Labor Day weekend, it got me to thinking, and it made me do another deep dive into the question of why did they dump his body on the highway? So it made me think of this question. So I asked AI once again, because guys, if you know the right way how to use AI, I've said it over and over, you can find answers that you can't get anywhere else if you just ask the right questions. So with the way that my crazy brain works, this is the question that I came up with. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone ask this before. If I have, I apologize, but I haven't seen it. So I asked this question that I've never seen before anywhere. I asked it, are crime scenes that happen on the side of a highway much harder to investigate? And it says, yes. Crime scenes that happen on the side of a highway can be significantly harder to investigate compared to other locations, and here's why. Environmental challenges. You have exposure to elements. Outdoor scenes are vulnerable to weather conditions like rain, snow, wind, and extreme temperatures, which can quickly destroy or contaminate evidence. Reduced visibility. Nighttime. Investigating at night, even with artificial lighting, makes it harder to spot subtle evidence and increases the potential for mistakes. Uneven terrain. The shoulder or surrounding areas of a highway can be uneven, making precise documentation and evidence collection more difficult. And boy, let me tell you, that first paragraph there, that lines up straight with Noah's case, doesn't it? It lines right up with everything that happened in Noah's case. He was found on the shoulder of the highway, and all of this stuff is telling you why those kind of cases are so much harder to investigate. Okay, but there's more, so let's dive in. You have safety hazards, traffic flow. The most immediate and significant danger is ongoing traffic. Investigators are at high risk of being hit by distracted, intoxicated, or drowsy drivers. This necessitates strict safety protocols, traffic control, and often leads to faster, sometimes less thorough processing to minimize road closures. Didn't Donna Bond say that? That she said over and over when she's talking about law enforcement, she's saying these men had to deal with the traffic and roads being shut down and all that. So guys, it is all lining up now. Okay, it's a very hard crime scene to investigate, and then you got traffic. You got more traffic coming and going because it's Labor Day, and then I'm sure that word got out that there was someone possibly dead on the side of the road, and you have ambulance chasers that probably got in their vehicles and hauled ass down there wanting to look at it. I mean, it's sickening to think about, but that's probably exactly what happened. More traffic, in the already increased Labor Day weekend traffic from ambulance chasers. Then you have the secondary incidents. The presence of a crime scene can lead to rubbernecking and secondary accidents, further endangering responders and potentially impacting the scene. So we've all been complaining and griping and bitching about the piss poor job that we think that law enforcement did at this crime scene. And I think that all of these reasons here pretty much prove that it was piss poor, because it had to be piss poor. And I'm not defending them. I'm just saying this was the perfect spot to dump someone. You have the traffic, you have the elements, and it's a recipe for a freaking nightmare. So then you have the evidence collection and preservation. Transient evidence. Evidence on a highway is particularly susceptible to being scattered, blown away, or run over by vehicles. This includes trace evidence like fibers, hair, and even shell casings. Lack of control. It's much harder to fully secure a wide open highway area compared to an indoor scene, increasing the risk of contamination or alteration by unauthorized individuals. And that right there is something that we've all been asked. Why was Caden allowed to go to the scene, and why was Jack there, and was there any contamination, and was there black shorts or was there white shorts that were folded neatly and tossed out there later? I mean, it's a crime scene from hell, guys. And it is amazing that AI is nailing every aspect of this case so far. I didn't even put Noah's name in there. I just asked it about that kind of situation, about a body being found on the shoulder of a highway, and it's pumping out all of this information that lines up exactly what we all know about the case. Debris fields, especially in cases involving vehicles, there can be large debris fields that are challenging to process efficiently. Well, hell, not in this case, was there? Someone got rid of all the evidence. No, there was no evidence at all. No blood splatter, no hit and run, vehicle parts, nothing. Just Noah there. So it's unbelievable, guys. And I think that I am about to crack this case and explain to you guys why he was dumped on the side of the road. Okay, so let's continue here. Logistical and resource demands. Time pressure. There's immense pressure to clear highway scenes quickly to restore traffic flow, which can limit the time available for a thorough investigation. Wow. Manpower. Securing a large highway scene often requires more personnel than an indoor scene, which can strain resources, especially for smaller departments. And I think that's exactly why he was dumped on the side of a highway, because it was going to be an OHP case, and you can't really get 20 OHP officers out there. You're only going to have one show up, which is what happened, I believe, Zach Wright. I don't know if any more showed up. There's talk about it, but I don't know the names. It's not confirmed, but if more than Zach Wright showed up, then it was just one or two others. You can, and just like I just laid out, they're more concerned about securing that traffic flow and restoring the highway as quickly as possible in a very hard to process crime scene. So then you have specialized equipment. Documenting and mapping large outdoor scenes, especially at night, often requires specialized tools like 3D scanners, which smaller departments may not have. So is it lining up now, guys? Why he was on the side of the highway? Because they're not going to bring all this out there to that highway, especially not on Labor Day weekend. Jurisdiction. Depending on the specific highway, there might be questions of jurisdiction between local police, county sheriffs, and state highway patrol. which can complicate coordination. And that's exactly what we had, guys. We had a 3-ring circus going on that highway because someone said that OHP was called to come in, and that their response was, it's local police and sheriff's case unless there's a body involved or unless there was a vehicle involved. I don't remember the exact wording that I was told. So that's exactly what you have. You have jurisdiction hell going on. Whose case is it? So then you have witness and suspect identification. Lack of witnesses. Highways are transient environments, meaning there are often fewer direct witnesses who can provide immediate information. Even if there are witnesses, getting them to stop and cooperate can be challenging. You have the mobility of suspects. Highways facilitate quick escape for offenders, making it harder to establish a precise timeline or track their movements immediately after the crime. So to wrap this up, in essence, the dynamic and often hostile environment of a highway crime scene presents a unique set of challenges that can significantly hinder the investigative process, demanding speed, efficiency, and extensive resources while prioritizing safety. And so, guys, here's what we have. We have a crime that was committed, and whatever happened to Noah, for him to be deceased, and then someone needed to get rid of the body and put it in a place that would make it almost impossible for law enforcement to solve and figure out and investigate. And the side of a highway is the perfect spot. You have the lack of jurisdiction where nobody really knows whose case it is. Okay, you have all the elements going on where evidence is getting destroyed and blood turns brown or black, I think, out on the highway pretty quickly, which that's why a lot of people were talking about how it couldn't have been Noah's blood out there because it would have dried up, because I think there's some kind of red spot out there. There's a lot of factors to the case, but here's what I want to point out, guys. And I think that this seriously points to the idea that someone with some kind of knowledge of law enforcement and how investigations are done, someone who is involved in all of this, like on a daily basis, or has a history with that, had to have been involved in either choosing the location of where to put Noah or personally putting him there themselves. Okay, and I'm telling you right now, that's just a very select few group of people. Okay, and so let's look at who is involved in this case. Okay, we got people who are involved with the volunteer fire department, and I don't know if they have an ambulance that they drive, because in this area, volunteer fire departments, they have those rural ambulances that go out to places like that. I don't think that happened in this case, but these guys do respond to highway crimes and accidents, you know, if they are volunteer fire departments. So they would have knowledge of how crime scenes on the highway work, how the investigations work. They would have knowledge of how difficult they are. Okay, And I'm not going to say any names, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Because I do not think that these kids who were drunk at a party had the smarts and the brains to think of that place to put Noah in all of these reasons. Like, this is someone who understood that if they put his body where it was, that this case would never be solved. And I'm telling you guys, that had to be one of these adults. These adults were involved somehow, some way. Okay? And that's just, I think that's just where the case is, and I think it's very, very obvious. Because I don't think Jack or Avery or Caden or Mikey or whoever, Breland, I don't think they're going to know that if you put someone on the side of the highway, that it's going to be impossible to solve, and that you're going to have this jurisdiction hell going on, and crime scene contamination, and I don't think, I just can't find myself thinking that, guys. I don't think they're smart enough. So the question is, which of these adults were involved? Which of these adults that had relationships to these party kids, which of them have this kind of experience where they know how to stage the perfect crime scene on the side of a highway? So let's discuss this further in the comments, okay? And I'll talk to y'all later.